You don't get uncomfortable when people dislike you. You get uncomfortable when they like you. When someone appreciates you, notices you, wants to be closer to you, something in you pulls back. And it's confusing, because this is what you wanted, right? So why does it feel like pressure instead of relief? 2. Problem dive. At first, it feels good. Someone laughs at your joke. They compliment you. They choose to spend time with you. There's a brief moment where it lands. You feel seen. But then something changes, quietly. You start thinking, now I have to keep this up. Do they expect me to always be like this? What if they realize I'm not actually like they think? And without realizing it, you begin to adjust. You speak more carefully. You filter your reactions. You become slightly more managed. Not fake, just edited. And the more they like you, the more pressure you feel to stay consistent, to not break whatever version of you they've formed. So instead of relaxing into connection, you start monitoring it. Over time, this creates a strange shift. Their liking doesn't feel warm anymore. It feels like responsibility, like something you now have to maintain. And sometimes you pull away. You take longer to reply. You create distance. You lose interest even when nothing is wrong. Not because you don't like them, but because being liked started to feel heavy. And that raises a deeper question. Why does acceptance feel like pressure? 3. Reframe. You're not ungrateful, and you're not emotionally unavailable. What you're experiencing is something more subtle. Your brain is trying to protect your identity, because being liked isn't just about connection, it's about expectation. When someone likes you, they're not just responding to who you are, they're responding to a version of you, and your brain recognizes that. So instead of relaxing, it becomes cautious, because now there's something at stake: consistency, image, control over how you're perceived. This isn't a flaw, it's an adaptation, especially if at some point being misunderstood or judged or figured out felt uncomfortable or even unsafe. So your brain learns something. It's safer to stay undefined than to be fully known. And when someone starts liking you, that safety begins to disappear. But why does your brain treat it that way? 4. Psychological mechanism. Your brain is constantly trying to reduce uncertainty, especially in social situations. One key system involved here is predictive processing. Your brain creates models of how people see you and tries to keep those models stable. When someone starts liking you, your brain forms a prediction. This is who they think I am. Now, here's the tension. If you don't fully trust that version of yourself, your brain sees a risk, because now there's a gap between who you feel like internally and who you're being perceived as externally. This is called self-discrepancy, and the brain doesn't like mismatches. It tries to resolve them in 2 ways. Either you change yourself to match the perception, or you distance yourself from the person holding that perception. Most people don't consciously choose this. It just happens. Now add another layer: social evaluation threat. When someone likes you, the stakes increase, because losing neutral attention doesn't hurt much, but losing positive attention does. So your brain becomes more alert, more careful, more controlling. Think of it like this. Before they liked you, you were walking freely. After they like you, it feels like you're carrying something fragile, and suddenly every movement matters. So instead of feeling connection, you feel pressure not to drop it. And eventually, your brain asks a quiet question: what if I just put this down? And that's when distance begins. But there's a way to loosen this pressure, not by forcing yourself to stay, but by changing how your brain interprets being liked. 5. Practical framework. 1. Separate you from the version they see. What to do? Remind yourself, their perception is a snapshot, not a contract. You don't have to maintain it perfectly. Why it works. This reduces self-discrepancy pressure by allowing flexibility in identity representation. Your brain stops treating their perception as something fixed you must live up to. Example, if someone thinks you're always confident, you allow yourself to still have quiet or uncertain moments. 2. Let small inconsistencies exist. What to do? Intentionally allow minor differences in how you act. Don't overcorrect every behavior. Why it works? This weakens the brain's need for rigid consistency and reduces performance pressure. It teaches your nervous system that variation is safe. Example, one day you're more talkative, another day quieter, and you don't explain or justify it. 3. Notice the moment pressure begins. What to do? Catch the exact moment when liking turns into pressure. Name it mentally. Why it works? Awareness interrupts automatic threat responses and activates regulation systems in the brain. Example, you feel someone getting closer emotionally, and instead of pulling away immediately, you notice, this is where I start to feel responsible. 4. Share something slightly imperfect. What to do? Reveal something small that doesn't fit the perfect version. Why it works? This reduces fear of exposure by proving that connection can survive imperfection. It updates your brain's prediction model. Example, you admit you were nervous about something instead of maintaining a composed image. 5. Stay a little longer than your instinct says. What to do? When you feel like pulling away, pause. Don't force closeness, just delay the exit. Why it works? This builds tolerance to emotional exposure and reduces avoidance patterns. Your brain learns that the feeling passes. Example, instead of ending the conversation early, you stay for another minute. Nothing collapses. The pressure softens. 6. Integration. Here's the simple way to see all of this. Being liked feels uncomfortable, not because something is wrong with you, but because your brain turns it into a responsibility. It takes something natural and treats it like something fragile. But connection isn't something you have to hold perfectly. It's something that moves, changes, breathes. The moment you stop trying to preserve a version of yourself, you allow something more real to exist. Not a performance, not an image, just presence. And that's where connection actually becomes lighter. 7. Quiet, empowering close. You don't pull away because you don't care. You pull away because somewhere inside, being liked started to feel like something you could lose, and losing it felt like it would say something about you. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe being liked isn't something you have to protect. Maybe it's something you're allowed to experience without holding your breath. So the next time someone appreciates you, notice the pressure, but don't run from it immediately. Stay just long enough to see that you don't have to become someone else to be worth staying.